Layla had been to the works to be mended. She was happy to be back at work, but she still felt bad about what happened on her first day, where she got too excited about being prepared for work time on Digby's branch line that she took the coaches all at once and ends up causing a great deal of trouble by smashing into the wall at the back of the sheds. Layla was lucky she didn't have any passengers on board, but she was feeling silly for what she had done. She was still thinking about the time she hadn't listened to Taffy's advice about taking the local passenger coaches. On this day, Layla was taking some coal cars to the harbor. She had to stop at Hawkins Station to let Kyle's passenger train in first. Kyle saw Layla and sneered. Well, if it isn't Layla, the new engine who thought she knew better by recklessly borrowing the coaches without Heather and Digby's permission. Surely she is such a clumsy one after all. Layla looked sad. She had heard from Taffy that Kyle could be a teasing sort of engine, but being reminded of her own mistakes was very upsetting. Miss Edwards arrived. She had a job for Layla. She had to take some heavy pipes from the harbor and bring them to the depot with Taffy. Before Kyle could tease her after Miss Edwards had left, Layla steamed quickly away with her coal cars. Oi! Make sure you don't get my paint all sooty with those lot. Ugh, but then again, what can be expected for a clumsy engine to be pulling? Layla was an engine who still had a lot to learn, such as she was to shun freight cars in the yard or pulling trains on the main line. But Kyle seemed to find a way to make her feel more like a clumsy engine than ever. Layla delivered her coal cars and soon found a long line of pipes chained down on flatbeds. Taffy was already waiting for her at the front of the train, but she didn't look very happy. What's wrong, Taffy? I think my tubes are leaking. This hasn't happened before, but it did happen for the first time. I was very unwell. If you're ill, you shouldn't really be pulling such a heavy train. Oh, I'll be alright. I may not be as strong as the others, but I can manage this. The only reason I need you as a back engine is to make it less straining for me and my tubes. Layla sighed. She had a feeling that the train was going to be heavier with a poorly engine at the front, but she knew Taffy wanted to feel special with her talented strength. Soon enough, Layla was coupled up behind Taffy and the pipes, and the two engines set off, though Taffy had to go more slowly than she would normally, even with a heavy load. Layla pushed with as much strength as she could, but Taffy wasn't cooperating as much as she usually would. She tried her best. But as they came to the hill, both Taffy and Layla knew that they had their work cut out for them. Then it happened. Halfway up the hill, Taffy's tubes leaked all the more water onto the line, and she grew more and more feeble. She came to a stop, despite Layla's efforts. Ugh! I'm sorry, Layla. I can't go any further. Layla sighed sadly. Taffy's driver called for help. Just then, Kyle puffed down the hill with some empty coaches. He slowed down. Did you cause Taffy to break down, or did you bump into the back of her too hard? Layla was suddenly very cross and also determined. No, Kyle, I did not. I may be an engine who does something silly sometimes, but I'm still learning how to be real useful. And I may not be as strong as the engines, but I'm going to try my hardest. I'll show you. Layla pushed up against the flatbeds of pipes, and with all of her puff, she started to push. Her wheels jittered, and her axles ached, but using the strength in her traction rods, she started to move along with Taffy and their train. Kyle gasped as Layla passed him, pushing a heavy train before him up the steepest and highest hill on the Western Valley Railway. When Heather arrived from Middle Stream Station to be Layla's banker engine, she was surprised and amazed to see Layla pushing Taffy and the pipes. Well done, Layla! Keep it up, girl! Keep it up! Even Kyle couldn't help but to whistle in support, and that made Layla very happy and proud. Taffy was happy too. She and the pipes were going over the top of the hill. Well done, Layla! Layla and Taffy braked gently to steer round the bend. Then, Layla pushed them both all the way to the depot. The workmen were pleased to see the pipes from the train. They were just in time. Layla needed a long drink and a rest after her heavy work. So Digby came to take Taffy to the engine works. Miss Edwards is very proud of you, Layla. She says that tomorrow you will be rewarded with a new coat of paint, and you will be pulling passengers for the rest of the week. Layla was delighted. It turns out that despite how silly she may be, her strength had made her to be a really useful and talented engine.